Hello and welcome to SEC Baseball Reaction. It's Friday night. I'm Chris Lee, joined by Alfred Esmond and Graham Doty. We got lots of stuff to talk about. Games still going on, several in the books. But boy, first of all, we got to start in Knoxville. The second no-hitter of the year for Tennessee. I think the second one involving Liam Doyle. Is Tennessee run rules A&M in a 7-inning shutout. Andrew Fisher, a couple home runs. They had two more. I forget where they were from off the top of my head. But Alfred Esmond, the world's only Tampa Bay Rays fan, start us off with what we saw in Knoxville tonight.
You know what, Chris? Not a nice jab to start the show, but I'll slide past it and get right.
At least your team's got more than one win, so carry on.
Oh yeah, we'll start with that. But I can see Sam Smith is a little jumpy in the chat, calling out Chris and us for lateness because of his team winning, but rightfully so, right? Second no-hitter or combined no-hitter, I guess, this season, along with the St. Bonaventure win in non-conference play. And quite honestly, guys, Liam Doyle could have done it himself, I feel like, had he not been messing with his finger there late and they put in Dylan Loy. Nonetheless, Dylan Loy comes in and shuts the game down, and great win for the Vols in this national championship rematch, right, to start out the series. Let's start with Andrew Fisher. At this point, he is one of the best power bats in the conference, and I think this kind of solidified it. 2 home runs to get the scoring going early for him. Dean Curley hopped in with a home run as well, and then Hunter Ensley, Mr. Vol, kind of put the 3-run homer on the board to make it 10-0, and that would be all she wrote. As for A&M, you get no hit, you're not going to win the game, and it's as simple as that. The errors, there was an error I did see. I think it was in like the 6th inning or something that got a run on the board for Tennessee. It's kind of been a problem for them all year and whatnot, but man, Ryan Prager, I don't think he wasn't great to what you normally see from him. Because he gave up 9 hits, but his offense helped him none. So that's really the story of this one. And Tennessee just keeps on churning.
What was he sitting tonight with the fastball? Was it the 4-seamer when he's on has just been so electric?
Yeah, I think it was still hitting 90s-ish, right? I mean, okay. Maybe a little lower than what he normally does, but I don't really put a lot of this on him. I know he gave up a ton of hits and stuff, but like I said, I mean, the offense just didn't show up. They didn't even get walks, guys. I mean, they had like 2 walks all game. So it was just non-existent. And, you can have Hagen Smith from last year or Sandy Koufax pitching, and that's just not going to win you a game, flat out.
My takeaways, and I mean, I was thinking this, while I was paying attention, watching it, following along, what a difference a few months makes for these two programs. I mean, this was a series before the season started. Everybody kind of had circled, all right, that's going to be a fun weekend. National championship series rematch in Knoxville. Everybody pay attention to this one. And then, I mean, this you're looking at Texas A&M, just the biggest gut punch of all, and just – how do you bounce back if you're Texas A&M from this? Just with the way the season has started, and then here you are against a team you played, 6 months ago, and it's just you can't be more further apart. I mean, Tennessee just looked incredible tonight. They wanted to put on a show, and that's exactly what they did.
Thank you to Kevin Hunley, our most generous Tennessee fan we have. He drops in with a $99.99 super chat, which all of you are welcome to leave. Thank you, Kevin. As always, he was incredibly generous to us during baseball season. One of the great fans at our channel here. So, Kevin, thank you so much for that. That is really cool of you.
Kevin, that is awesome. We need to address this comment that Sam made. I'm assuming Sam went to the game along with a lot of other people here. He said, bad body language for Texas A&M, like from the get-go. Everybody can just sense it. I mean, if you can see it from TV, I can't imagine what it's like when you watch them play in person.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and I guess thankfully for them, they only went McCoy after Prager, so they have a lot of pitching for tomorrow. But yeah, you gotta. I mean, because of the weather, they have 2 games, and you gotta bring it more than that when you have a doubleheader lined up. Period.
Yeah, I would have never in a million years have dreamed that after tonight, you've now got A&M and Florida, your last two national runner-ups, or a combined 2-18 in the SEC.
Wow.
Yeah, nobody had that. Like, if you would have gone to Vegas before the season started and would have tried to bet that, I don't think they would have taken your money.
I wouldn't have put $5 on that to
Wow.
win 100,000. I mean, it just would have seemed that improper. No, you can explain a little bit of it with injuries. A&M had two major hitting injuries, and Florida's pitching injuries are starting to pile up. But still, my goodness. By the way, fill me in. Sam says they're playing 18 innings tomorrow.
Yes.
Is Sunday's okay? Sunday's game has been moved up because of weather.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like half the league weather is impacted. Like, we've seen it with Ole Miss, Kentucky, Arkansas, Missouri. Like, they're playing 2 tomorrow. It just feels like it's everywhere.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm thinking. Well, maybe in that case it works out. But I was thinking tonight before I knew that. Like, I think that the no hitter, the shortened game actually worked in A&M's favor in some ways because their starting pitching can go unusually deep. It's the bullpen where they have issues.
Right.
So not having to throw off a couple of guys late tonight. I mean, Tennessee's got 15 guys that can throw, I'm sure. That might have helped A&M a little bit in a roundabout way. I don't think it's going to matter, but just when I heard, okay, that one's over after 7, that's the first thing I thought.
Yeah.
Any more thoughts on this one? And if not, and we may circle back to it later.
I guess my question would just be, what are you anticipating from A&M the rest of the way? Just like their energy, how much fight they got, what that dugout looks like. None of us anticipated that they were going to win this series. Maybe on a good day they would take one, but I don't think anybody saw this, or you're just not competitive.
Do you know?
Go ahead.
Do you guys know where they go this season?
I'm looking at it right now, and that's your problem. Maybe you get one, and maybe you sweep South Carolina. I wouldn't bet on either of those. But then you got to go. Goodness gracious, Arkansas, Texas, LSU, back to back,
and Georgia,
and Georgia to end. So I mean, yeah. I mean, you've got to get a game, if not 2, in Knoxville.
I kind of think it's like, you know how in the NFL, if you win your division or if you go to the playoffs, like the following year, your schedule is pretty hard. It's like the SEC did that with A&M this season because everybody thought A&M was going to be really good. So the SEC kind of built this schedule to where they're going to play the top teams in the league. And boy, it has just backfired. And to me, the question that a lot of people are going to start to ask is what Sam just dropped in the chat. So does the conversation go to will there be a coaching change not only after the season, but during the season? I don't think it'll happen during the season. I think that'll be so dramatic, but I think it's at least a conversation. Is he going to last whatever the season concludes?
Well, I mean, I guess if you're going to do it and you think that's an issue, just do it now. I mean, the AD was busy hiring a basketball coach today, and they still owe Jimbo Fisher a bunch of money. I guess they're finished paying Kevin Sumlin. I'm not sure.
I got it. I got the baseball contract right here if you guys want it. Like what Early's contract
Are you serious? Yeah, let's have it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this season he's making $900,000, and it goes up every year. So year 2 is $950,000, year 3 $1 million, and then year 4 $1 and some change. If he gets fired without cause, he's owed 100% of the remainder of his contract.
Wow!
And remember, and you said Jimbo, they're paying Jimbo until 2031.
Well, I guess the answer I would like to know is like, is a coaching change going to further demoralize that team? Because look, he was a recruiting coordinator and very well liked, from what I understand. I mean, if it gives you a chance to jumpstart your season, like you think that's the problem, it's a morale problem stemming from the head coach, then sure. If it's not, then I don't know that I see the point. And I'll be right back. You guys carry on.
I concur. I concur with that. I don't think. I think it'd be way too much with how much they're going through already to be like, all right, that's a wrap. It absolutely is. It's just stinks for them, but at the same time, I don't really think it's gonna help at all for them. I think it'll make fans on Twitter happy. I don't think it'll make anything that's going on there right now any better than what it already is. You know what I mean? So that's my thing. It's certainly something that needs to be addressed when this year is over, if they keep at the rate they're keeping at, which I think they will because of how hard their schedule is.
I'm looking ahead. In fact, you mentioned the schedule thing. I'm like, does anybody play both Florida and A&M or not play them? And that's Auburn. So before the season, you're thinking, boy, we ducked both those teams. Now you're wishing you played them both probably. I want to see if anybody else is missing both of them. Yeah, Oklahoma misses them both. And that's it.
I think the Boosters want to head on a spike. I can't say after how much they spent on that team, I disagree necessarily.
Yeah. And look, they should be better than they are.
Right.
I know Grohovac was a huge injury, but I just looked at that lineup before the season and thought they are so deep. 1 to 8, 1 to 9.
Well, they are. That's the crazy thing. Like they are. And I want to be clear, like, I'm not really the guy that calls for a coach to be fired. I mean, I've been around so many coaches in my life. Like, these are real people that have families.
Yeah.
And a lot of this coaching staff is pretty new, and they move from all over the country to go to College Station. So, like, I hate that this is happening, but I mean, this is a very real, situation. And like in my mind, you look at what A&M did with their men's basketball hire today. I don't know if that's 100% official or not, but we kind of see the direction that it's going. And, how, if any, does that impact the baseball program? Like, there's too much invested in this baseball program for the product that's been on the field up to this point.
Right.
Yeah. By the way, as an aside, I think Bucky McMillan is a tremendous hire for A&M. I know Sam Smith will agree with me. Tennessee, here's what I'm watching now. I think the two teams that I could see challenging them are probably in this order, Arkansas and LSU. Arkansas is the last series of conference play for Tennessee, and LSU's coming up in 3 weekends. And I think both are on the road.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, they're the favorite right now. Don't get me wrong, but I can give you paths where I think both those teams could play with them and maybe win the series. The tiers in this league are starting to stratify, and I think Georgia and Texas would be in that top tier. But I think those teams have got some limitations that Arkansas and LSU don't have if everything plays out to potential. So
yeah,
I'm with that. I'm with that as well.
Sam asked if we mentioned Doyle having a blister. Was that the issue?
It seemed like it.
Okay.
They kept letting him go, and he was just pointing at his finger. It looked like his tortoise fingernail, kind of, but it was cause for concern enough to pull him out for Dylan Loy. So, like I said, had that not been present, Liam Doyle would have done this himself, at the rate he was going. So, Josh Carter says cut nail. That's what I think it was. So,
okay.
He has, we'll see you Friday. And
at
that point,
go ahead. I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah, their next he returns to Ole Miss next week, which will be interesting. So you definitely want him well for that one.
Yes, I agree with that. It's a good decision. It is like the baseball person in me was like, let him go, let him do it. And I'm sure everyone in Lindsey Nelson Stadium was the same way, or a lot of people were. But the head coach and Tony Vitello was like, keep him healthy, because we've seen that be a problem for a few teams this year, not having their Friday guy.
Second biggest headline of the night among games finished, I think, is probably Auburn doing what it did to Alabama. Auburn just jumped all over Zane Adams early. Got 6 runs in the first inning.
Yeah.
Um,
4 in the first, 2 in the second.
Yeah, Freilich had 4. Sam Dutton was terrific again. I mean, I feel like we've had an unusual amount of really fantastic Friday night guys. And what they've done with Dutton, we had Lindsey Crosby on. I think he said Butch Thompson taught him a cutter, which is maybe the biggest thing in his leap. I think Dutton's already thrown more innings at Auburn than he threw maybe ever at LSU in any particular season. Really impressed with what Auburn did tonight. I thought Alabama might match up with them pretty well, but not the case tonight, guys.
No, I would never. We talked about not putting money on Florida and A&M being 2-18 as the last 2 runner-ups. I would not have put money on Alabama having 2 hits in a game. 2 hits with how that offense has been. That was incredible stuff from Sam Dutton. He went, the full 7 innings that were needed to end this game. 6 strikeouts, only walked 2 guys. I mean, did not give up that many base runners whatsoever. Offensively, Eric Snow, excellent. Chris Rembert is one of 400 million gajillion freshmen in this league that are going off. He's right up there in that list.
How many?
400 million gajillion. It's a lot of zeros. A lot of zeros.
Zeros are hurting my – holy smokes.
Oreo says it. A lot of zeros from Oreo as well. Lots of zeros. Oreo's right on the money. Ike Irish, 2 hits. Similar thing. Carter Bristol. Bristol Carter, excuse me. Got in on the action. Chase Freilich as well. So many guys on offense for Auburn going crazy. Unexpected. Completely unexpected result. I'm super impressed. It started with Sam Dutton, and the offense just was about as good as you could ask for from Butch Thompson.
Yeah, I liked Auburn in this series, but to me, the unexpected part is that the Alabama offense, just the 2 hits. The difference in this game tonight, Auburn 10 hits with runners on base. Alabama went 0 for 7. That was the difference in this one. And then the other thing, moving forward for Auburn, it's so big for them that Dutton went the distance tonight. So like their options, like they are wide open the rest of the way at the final 2 games, bullpen wise.
Auburn did this without hitting a home run. I know that, which is kind of odd, right? In SEC baseball nowadays, they just moved guys like crazy, and not a bad thing at all. But it's just something else I picked up too. It's really good for them when you're scoring in that kind of fashion.
Yeah, I'm checking pitching plans the rest of the weekend. Bama's going Riley Quick, who was great last week, and Bobby Alcock, who's been pretty good. Auburn going Cade Fisher and TBD. Alabama did not throw Blackwood tonight, who's one of their better bullpen guys. And they got a lot of arms they can throw either way. So certainly no panic for Alabama. But Dutton has been I'm not sure what the ERA is now, but I bet he's probably top 5 in the conference among starters or close to it.
He'd be close to it. He's a guy who easily is left out among the big names in the conference, just because I feel like it's Auburn and they're not necessarily a Tennessee, Arkansas, or LSU, but deservedly gets to be up there, or should be up there at least.
Well, and the kid's not overpowering, but he knows how to pitch. He keeps it on the ground, keeps it in the ballpark, that kind of stuff. I mean, I think Sam Dutton could throw for any team in this league and throw a lot. So, yeah, big win for Auburn. Next up, because I think it just ended, boys, Texas. Somebody shut Georgia down finally. Jared Spencer, who's kind of looks like Bert Auburn's cousin, was overpowering in that one tonight. I don't know if does he. What's the deal with Texas and long, curly-headed redheads? I don't know what the deal is, but anyway,
Dustin Mays.
Yeah, there you go. That's the one I'm looking for. That's the one I'm looking for. That was super impressive. That they had them no hit until was it the 6th or the 5th? I think
it's something along those lines. They held him forever. It seemed like. I mean, it helps too. I mean, you have he walked a few guys, Jared Spencer, but he struck out 11. So you're going to take that trade off every time, and they only ended up with 2. That's another unexpected thing. Georgia having 2 hits or 3 hits the entire game. Georgia, right? Some of these offenses just went quiet tonight, and it's another case of that. The one thing I will say for Texas, they did go Volantis, in this game. So I don't know. I'm not sure it might matter that much with the pitching, and they don't really care. They got the win anyway. But it's something of note there with that, just to keep an eye on, I guess. And then, man, Texas took advantage in the middle innings, and the hits were very spread out amongst their lineup. I mean, Gasparino, Galvan, Schussler, Borba, Stewart, all getting in with some hits. So, well put together job. It's like a team effort, if you will, offensively for Texas. Gets it done against Georgia, and then you have your Friday night guy do that. It's going to pay dividends like it did.
Yeah, looking at Chris, Georgia did not have their first hit until the 5th inning. So to me, that's a gold medal right there. If you limit that powerful Georgia offense, aren't they number 1 in the country in home runs? Just have 2 hits. So just what a start to the series for Texas. I thought the series would be fantastic, but since it wasn't Austin, that's kind of why I was leaning Longhorns. Be fascinated to see what games 2 and game 3s look like. And the Longhorns bullpen is in really good shape moving forward, as is Georgia too, by the way. Hammond was good in his outing tonight for Georgia. 3 1/3 in relief, 5 strikeouts, only walked 1.
Yeah, I think for Georgia, Goldstein, we say he's more of an opener than a starter at this point. That might be a season-long outing. They did go Hoskins, who got hit, really didn't get hit as much as he couldn't find the strike zone. That's kind of something you do want to see if you're Georgia, because he's probably a top 5 arm. And I don't really blame Schlossnagle for pulling out Volantis, because Georgia could put up an 8 spot on you in the blink of an eye.
Very true.
So just finish it out, get your win. I guess, let's see, here they're going to go. Oh, they're going Georgia's going Curley, and then Texas will go Luke Harrison, who's just okay. ERA is a little misleading there, but probably more of an open. Well, I shouldn't say more of an opener. Against Georgia, you probably are, but I mean, they still got Cade Bing, they got Flores, they got Duplantier. I say they're gonna have to get through the weekend. It's Georgia, so we'll see. But you can always bring Volantis back for another one. I don't know how many pitches he threw, but he pitched against 4 batters.
Yeah.
8 pitches. He'll be back.
And Chastain was a game-time decision for Georgia, and Trey Phelps is out for this series. So that's something.
Phelps is still out. Okay.
Yeah. That's according to the injury report today.
Yeah. Jack says, circling back to Alabama, Alabama may be okay offensively, but they used a ton of arms, going to be limited. Oh, tomorrow doubleheader. You may have called that earlier, Alfred.
Mm-hmm.
Although Auburn's got a deep bullpen. It's just the starters. Like if they get good Cade Fisher tomorrow, that's a series changer. But that's very hit and miss.
Alabama has, you said it, Chris. Alabama does have their really good bullpen guys. Like obviously, late game scenario, they can go Osmer again, who they didn't use, and he's been like their closer type this year. And they obviously did not use him because there was no need. But both of these series are still wide open. Like we said, these offenses were just silent tonight for whatever reason. It's that baseball kind of moment. So don't count out Alabama and Georgia against these teams yet.
I want to see Blackwell is probably their best arm, but I cannot remember if they've been picking Alabama's. I can't remember if they've been pitching him in midweeks or not. I'm looking that up as we're doing it, because that's an arm that I would circle to watch. Yeah, it looks like he's been a midweek guy. Did throw a couple innings against Tennessee, so that's one they could pull out, and did pitch Tuesday against Samford.
And you mentioned Quick, by the way. He didn't go last week, so this will be his
that's right. That's right. Yeah.
This will be his first game in a couple of weeks.
But I mean, he's been so good. He's been getting I can't remember whose mock draft it was, but I was seeing him slip into a late first round situation, which isn't a shock. We all knew that if he pitched well, he would probably be in that territory. So Georgia, Texas, I think we've hit that one. Who next, guys?
How about Vanderbilt? Vanderbilt, Florida.
Yeah, J.D. Thompson was good tonight. They Sawyer Hawks is probably their best pitcher. They've been using him in long relief. He closed that out. Hitting wasn't spectacular tonight for either team. I think Florida burned through a little bit more of its pitching. Alfred, I asked you, were you, and you said you weren't completely surprised, but I thought using Jake Clemente tonight with as much depth as they've had issues with in terms of it getting hurt, I was a little surprised by that. Down to the middle innings in that one.
Well, I mean, at that point, it was what, a 3-0 game, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of striking distance still. My thought process is they need this series kind of, but they really wanted this win tonight, and that's why they went him. And Florida people think they're going to go Philpott Sunday. So obviously this means he won't get a start or anything. But then they went, like, the thing that got me was they went Barbary too. And Barbary went 28 pitches. So that's kind of like I don't know if he'll be available the rest of the weekend. And Jackson Barbary's like a really good arm for them. So I'm not exactly sure the thought process of doing that. Again, my only thing I could think of for Kevin O'Sullivan and that team is they wanted this win really bad. But man, guys, they just did not swing the bat all that well. I mean, right? Yeah. I know they had 7 hits. They struck out. I'm trying to count it now. There's a lot of guys on here with strikeouts on that box score. So it's just, getting blanked at home, to start this series is not a good omen. It is a good omen for Vanderbilt. I mean, anytime I feel like, Chris, you go into Gainesville and win that way, it's a really good thing. Hard place to play. Just, it's far, you know what I mean? Because it's, into Florida and whatnot. It's, the crowd there on weekends is pretty good at Condren Family Ballpark. Credit to them. It started with J.D. Thompson and then a lot of guys with really good nights. Riley Nelson with a really, really good night hitting the baseball. Florida. And I saw something too. Apparently Florida has like averaged 10 strikeouts a game almost in SEC play. So it's just
all offensively at the plate.
Yeah. Like they've struck out swinging like almost 10 times, a game offensively. It's just not going to get it done. And it was the case again tonight.
Ole Miss is 11, by the way. Wow. The difference in this game, Vanderbilt just the more timely hits. They had 4 hits with runners in scoring position. Florida was 0 for 9 in that situation. So to me, that was the difference in this one. And then I guess my question is, what do we make of Florida? Like, obviously, to me, they're the most beat up team in the league. But like, when do you start to, I guess, worry if you're a Gator fan?
Last week.
Last week?
Yeah.
The difference between them and A&M, their schedule's more I guess it's a little bit easier. Again, nothing is easy in this league, but it's not just landmines everywhere like that A&M schedule is.
Yeah, I mean, look, they play arguably the worst 3 teams in the conference the next 4 weeks after this.
Right.
Not Ole Miss. Missouri, Mississippi State, South Carolina, with Alabama in between.
Yeah, so if they're gonna make a run the next few weeks, this is gonna be it because, guys, we're at the stage of the season now. It's a math problem. So you got to go 13 and 5 the rest of the way, something like that.
Well, you saw LSU last year. I think was 2-11 at this point.
Yeah,
and it played a murderer's row of a schedule.
Yeah,
and ended up getting within a pitch of getting out of Chapel Hill and getting to a super, which you could kind of see coming. I think the problem with Florida is I can't see it coming the way I could with LSU. They just don't have that many position players left. Heck, they've only played 1, 2, 3, 4. I think they've only played 13 position players this year, and Jones is out and Curlin's out, both of them done for the year.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no depth. There's no where that really kills you is late inning matchups.
Yeah,
you got to be really careful with those. And I think the pitching, I think your best chance is Liam Peterson. Like, Peterson can match up with anybody. But when they didn't get it done tonight, they were in a close game, so they fired another bullet using Clemente there. They used Barberi later, as you said, Alfred. By the way, he started the midweek game for them. So that was one of those you kind of take your chances, and if you lose, you've really kind of dug yourself a hole. Is Pierce Coppola still out?
Yes, he is.
Okay, so now you're down to.
I was going to say, would not bank on that if you're a Florida fan.
Yeah, you got King tomorrow, however long that can go, and he's been pretty good when he's pitched. McNeely's still there; he's good. What do we think of Billy Barlow at this point?
I think he's been a good midweek slot for them. And if you need a weekend guy to change it up with Philpott, you can go him. That's my thought on him. And if you don't use him that way, you can use him out of the bullpen. He's going to be a major go-to, like up there with Clemente, Barberi, those guys, that sort of thing. So at some point, something's got to give. And another big thing with them, 2 tough midweeks coming up as well with Stetson, who's always a good mid-major. And then Florida State, and really that Florida State game, not to look too far ahead because you could still beat Vanderbilt in this series. That Florida State game, if you're Florida for tournament resume's sake, you kind of need to win that series with Florida State coming up. And the good news for them that next Florida State game is in Gainesville, but that would go a long way for you. And Florida State's really one of the best teams in the country, period, right now. So that's another game that kind of sticks out on the schedule to look at. And, that makes the midweek matchup with your pitching that much more vital with a guy like Barlow or something. But yeah, the only reason, like I said, with the pitchers they chose tonight was they just really wanted to grab this win, but the offense just strikes out too much to really allow them to do that. And like you said, Graham, they just can't take advantage of the opportunities in front of them that are given. So I don't know.
Chris, you made a good point about the depth. Florida, they've been doing this with like they hit with one of their freshmen, Lawson. Just imagine if Lawson wasn't playing at the level that he has been. He hadn't hit a freshman wall or anything like that. Like he had a base hit tonight. So, if he wasn't playing at the level that he is, it could be potentially worse for the Gators.
Yeah, if you take out the first week of the season or 2 weeks, he's been their best hitter. Brody Donay went on that heater, and I feel like we hadn't really mentioned him in a couple of weeks, Alfred.
No, yeah. Has not been as much of a factor either. So,
yeah. They're just – I think – I would argue, and I know A&M is the team that you think of first, but I think Florida got hurt more by injuries than anybody. Because I think A&M still had really elite hitting, I thought, coming into the season. And A&M really hasn't been touched that much on the pitching side. Florida's gotten hit in key spots, hitting and pitching.
Yeah. They're going to have to grab, if something else happens, like infield wise or something like that, they're going to have to start reaching for freshmen that just haven't played.
Yeah.
To play on weekends and stuff.
If you're looking at the injury report, like if you care about that, Florida has 5 guys out, A&M has 4.
Who were Florida's 5? I think we named at least 3 or 4 of them there.
Most of them, mostly pitchers. Hold on, let me
Menendez is 1. He's done.
Oh yeah, Frank Menendez is done for the year.
Jenkins, Coppola, Curlin, and Jones are the 2 position players.
Yeah, I don't know how much Matthew Jenkins was going to help him, but those other 4 guys would have absolutely helped him.
Yeah.
Let's go the league's only doubleheader, Ole Miss and Kentucky split. Graham, what stuck out to you there?
Yeah, so this was originally scheduled to be a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series. Couldn't go yesterday. Game 1 started super early. So if you're watching this game, not a lot of people there. And when you play in a stadium where there's not a lot of people, those can be some of the more challenging games, even more if like you go to Alex Box or Baum Walker, like name your packed SEC stadium, because like when you're it's an empty stadium, you got to bring your own juice, and like that just makes it challenging. This game, Hunter Elliott, kind of like he makes a living, like he'll put guys on base and then he'll just navigate his way out of it. He pitched good enough to win. The difference was in game 1, Kentucky, they scored 3 runs in an inning, and they were able to just hold on and win. Ole Miss left the go-ahead run on third base, I think, in the 10th inning or no, it was the ninth inning, and then Kentucky just was able to cash in and just eventually get the walk off. So, this matchup is interesting because what Kentucky does well, Ole Miss does not do well. Like Ole Miss hasn't thrown out a runner trying to steal second base in the SEC play this season. I think Ole Miss is like 0 for 7, 0 for 8 in situations like that. And Kentucky is a team that steals bases. Kentucky is a team, they're top 1 and 2 in the SEC and sacrifice bunts and sacrifice flies. Like they really, really manufacture runs. And this is an Ole Miss team that will commit a lot of errors. So, and Ole Miss is playing on an artificial surface really for the first time this season for a 3-game setting like this. So it's kind of an interesting matchup just because what Kentucky does well, it's kind of the weakness potentially of this Ole Miss team. So was curious how Ole Miss would respond in game 2. I mean, you lose an emotional game in extra innings, and then Ole Miss, was able to turn around and take care of business and win a very important game 2.
Shout out.
Go ahead.
They're calling game 1 the Devin Burks game, guys, by the way. That's what I've heard. So shout out to him, kind of the leader of this team. I feel like he's been around the block a little bit and came up huge with the walk-off hit in that first game. And then the other stuff too, Luke Hill was really good. I caught the first game, fair warning, more than the second game, but Luke Hill, really big for Ole Miss, kind of keeping them in the game in the first one too. Stings for Ole Miss a bit in that first game. You had 13 hits that didn't get a win, right? But nonetheless, Mike Bianco's squad came back in the second one and got it done. And, I feel like Riley Maddox was pretty dang good in his start in that second game. So, yeah.
His best outing of the season because, like, his ERA is almost 8. Like, his last 2 outings have not been the best. So that was a monster performance for him tonight on the mound.
Yeah, my takeaway, McCausland was good for them today. Mason Morris, when I watched him pitch, was terrific. Elliott, probably his worst start of the year, and then Riley Maddox was good. See, that's the thing with Ole Miss. I think the hitting's going to be there, and I do worry about pitching depth after 5 or 6 guys, but their top guys have been really good, and we're good this weekend so far.
Yeah, and McCausland, this was his best outing as an Ole Miss Rebel in SEC play. So he essentially he earned the win in game 2 of the doubleheader. 3 innings, didn't give up a hit, struck out 5. So he was a big reason why they were able to shut the door on Kentucky.
Yeah, Kentucky went TBA to start the weekend, followed by Rouse and Cleaver. They started Nate Harris. I can't remember if he started before for them, at least on the weekend. They're going Rouse and Cleaver, but they went Nick McKay instead. I wasn't sure what the deal was with him, if there was maybe a questionable injury situation that he wasn't listed on the rotation. Did you guys catch that? Because I just Google searched it. I can't figure out what, because he's been their number 1 all year. I don't know why he wouldn't have been in the rotation unless it was
available. Yeah. The only pitcher Kentucky has out is Logan Grubb.
Okay.
Maybe, if it wasn't injury-wise, just a thought, trying to get in Nick Mingione's head. Doubleheader today, so you're kind of like, okay, first game, we switch it, and if we win the first game, we could send this. It didn't work out this way in the end, but we send out Nick McKay for game 2, and we sweep a doubleheader that day, ideally. Obviously, kind of, work the opposite, but I feel like that might have been the thought process there. Nick McKay, I thought was pretty good. I mean, it wasn't anything like crazy dominant necessarily, but I mean, he went 4 innings, struck out 6, only gave up 3 hits, 2 walks, and 1 earned run. Like that's usually that can win you a baseball game in a lot of spots, but that's kind of my thought on why they would do it.
Well, here's the thing. Where's Ben Cleaver? He's their best arm. He didn't pitch today, and he's not listed in the rotation.
Weird. I haven't heard anything.
No. I'm sorry. He's listed as a 3. My bad.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
Strike that.
Go tomorrow. Yeah.
Is it just me, or has Luke Hill been a little bit of a tear lately?
Yeah, he's been consistently, I'd say, really from day 1. I mean, Alfred, you got to see him play in person. What was that? That was week 1 or 2?
Valentine's Day.
Yeah. So pretty much from the season starting, I mean, he's been Ole Miss's most consistent hitter. I mean, it's his second year in the program. He's been around the block. He's one of the leaders on the team, so you can just tell he's more comfortable, and he's got a really, really, really good approach.
Okay, anything else on the doubleheader in Lexington? Are we ready to move to next?
I think we're ready.
Okay, we've got – well, LSU has taken the first two in Norman, and I think might have walked – well, okay, 10-2 final. Got a few late on the defensive misplay in the left. Anthony Einson was terrific again, and we didn't do it last night, but got to shout out Cade Anderson.
Yes.
I do not know when the last time I saw a guy throw a 135-pitch complete game shutout. That's what he did last night. Struck him out, 14 guys.
Yeah.
91 strikes. 91 strikes.
Yeah.
Incredible.
I wasn't so much surprised with the 9 inning parts. I was stunned about the 135 part.
Yeah.
Because you just never see.
Oh, I was too. And he's not a guy that I don't think he even threw 30 innings a year ago. So the workload is not something that's on his resume from a collegiate standpoint. And he's only a sophomore.
He should be a first rounder at this point, right?
Yeah,
like
he will be.
He will be. Yeah, that's what I thought. I mean, heading into today, I think Liam Doyle got back on top of it, but he led the country in strikeouts heading into today's games. Him and Liam Doyle are going back and forth. So I know he's got to be first round material. He's easily a top 5 pitcher in the SEC. Again, the thing that stuck out to me, the 135 pitches, but 90 strikes. He was seeing like a zone like this. I mean, it was incredible from him. And then even today, it was like not necessarily the offense, didn't have to do what they needed to do, obviously, because of Anderson yesterday. Today, they went crazy. I mean, they had 15 hits today. Bear Jones is a really good baseball player. Breaking news. He had an RBI hit yesterday, and then did really well today again with 3 hits. Daniel Dickinson with a couple hits. Josh Pearson, Luis Hernandez. Chris Stanfield went berserk with 4 hits. 2 of them were doubles. And Pearson, actually, both his hits were home runs. So, man, LSU really went into Norman and put their foot down for the series win. Big time stuff. Really, just proving that they're once again a national title contender.
Yeah,
15 who hasn't pitched yet.
What was that?
Who hasn't pitched yet is Zach Cowan. So they got him sitting out there along with I presume. Let's see what they announced.
Yeah, they only had to go.
They're going Shores, but they will go to Cowan pretty quickly. If he struggles again. Sorry,
he can easily get 3 to 4, maybe even 5 innings in relief if they need it. To me, it's getting to the point where when Evans comes in the game, it's curtains. I mean, he's been at that level in this spot on the mound this year for LSU. I mean, he's been outstanding.
Josh Pearson hit 2 more bombs tonight too, Alfred.
Yeah, I saw it. And I said Einson went 107 pitches. These guys just keep going until they're dead. It's pretty awesome. I'd enjoy that if I'm an LSU fan. But I don't. They're deep. They're deep. I can't wait, to watch them play Tennessee and other teams like that. And man, Oklahoma, we got to talk about them a little bit. They used a ton of pitchers tonight. They pounced on Crossland. Then it was pretty solid. They didn't really give up a bunch of earned runs after that. The back end of the game was brutal with Kircher coming in and then Brandon Kane. Offensively, it just wasn't enough. You know what I mean? It just wasn't enough to kind of contend. That was a worry I had for them. Was I don't know if they had the big name guys to hit with teams like this, and I think that's kind of apparent, right? A little this weekend. I feel like that's reasonable to say, but that's my thing with it. And really, I think you just like to get one tomorrow as best you can against Shores and Cowan if you're them. But yeah, the story is just LSU and how I think this is the first time, correct me if I'm wrong, you guys might know better. This is the first time they've played in Norman for a series like this.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. They've maybe played in tournaments or maybe even in Baton Rouge, but I mean.
Right. Well, if it is, an LSU fan will correct me in the comments, but if it is, this is impressive. Kind of like a good welcome to the SEC thing from them to Oklahoma.
Yeah. To me, what separates the SEC from everybody else, like I kind of think the top 5 this season in the SEC, like any of those 5 has a legit chance to win the national championship. No other conference can say that. And then you got teams like Oklahoma, who's still really, really, really good, but it just shows you like the separation from a team like LSU and Oklahoma. LSU, they just got too much firepower, and then they got Kyson Witherspoon. He can pitch for any team in the country, but LSU just has more arms, rotation wise, and options out of the bullpen.
All right, I'm gonna ask you a question. If you make Zach Cowan your third starter, if you're LSU, whose rotation do you take to theirs? Because you're looking at Ianson, you're looking at Cade Anderson, and then you make. I mean, Cowan is essentially a starter anyway in terms of innings. He just doesn't begin games, which he did at Wofford, by the way, and threw 110 innings a year ago.
I'd say
Arkansas is in the conversation.
Maybe Tennessee with AJ Russell.
Yeah.
That I'd say maybe Tennessee with AJ Russell. That's it. I cut it off there. Arkansas and then Tennessee with AJ Russell. That's it.
Yeah. That's the long list. I think if Russell is in the if Russell's like able to go 6 innings, which they're nowhere close, I think the conversation would be LSU and Tennessee, but we're not there yet.
Mm-hmm.
And Arkansas has been a little bit disappointing. I mean, they're super talented. I mean, disappointing from their rotation standpoint.
Right.
They've been a little bit inconsistent. Yeah, but I mean, they can get Wood back. Beidelshees has been really good for them. Root's been really good, even though a little bit on, a little bit off. And then they got Gackle out there too. So I mean, that's the list. But right now, if you make Cowan a starter, I'm taking LSU's 3 to anybody's.
Right.
That could change.
I'm there with you on it.
Hard to disagree with it.
Yeah. Boy, this is going to be fun because Tennessee faces both those pitching staffs.
Those series are going to be awesome. I absolutely cannot wait. I'm giddy. You guys can tell I'm giddy for those baseball games. Can they happen tomorrow? Is how I am.
And guess what we also get? We got Arkansas LSU last week of the season.
Oh, another good one.
Yeah.
In Fayetteville, right?
I'm
pretty sure it is.
No, I think that's in Baton Rouge.
Oh, in Baton, okay.
Yeah. No, Tennessee's in Fayetteville. Let's see. We've already had LSU, Texas. Georgia has got Texas this weekend. Georgia's got Arkansas next weekend. That'll be interesting.
Oh, they got a gauntlet. They're being tested.
And that's in Athens.
Currently and next week they're being tested. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We got some good series. It's not what we expected though, right? Because it was like, Florida A&M has gone to the wayside just a little bit. So it's a little bit different, but we'll take it. I mean, I'm not going to complain whatsoever.
Let's see. We haven't hit Mississippi State, South Carolina. Didn't catch any of that. That's a, winner really needed it and loser feels miserable. And you lose in this case is Mississippi State, which is 1-9 in the league. Again, the schedule about to get a little easier, but that is, that's a hole.
Mm-hmm.
Did either of you get eyes on that one?
I did. Actually.
Okay. Well, of course you did. What am I thinking?
Where am I from? Where am I currently right now? Not Starkville, but the other state that they're playing.
Right.
The thing I would not, I guess my the theme for tonight for me has been things I would not have put money on. You know what I mean? When it was some of the offenses tonight. The thing I would not have put money on tonight for this game was South Carolina getting to Pico Cone like they did. That's not the offense that I would thought. Yeah, that's not the offense that I thought would get to Pico Cone. Now, Pico Cone did okay. He got to 5 innings, but in the process, 6 hits, 3 earned runs. In South Carolina just kind of held on enough, and they hacked into Pico Cone enough to get him out of that game. looking at, who was good, Bo Hollins, is kind of a guy they have deep in their lineup, or they can go to. He homered, which was absolutely massive, kind of like the turnaround in that game to tie it up. And then from there, Kennedy Jones made a scoring play. Stone came in and got a scoring play in as well. And then Hollins again getting in runs. Bo Hollins game tonight in Starkville. And like you said, I mean, this is huge. You got to feel really good if you're Paul Maneri and this team after tonight getting a win like that. This was the game, right? The Pico Cone game this weekend. And they got it done tonight. Now, they're not sailing free the rest of the weekend. Mississippi State, I think, could take some back against this team the remainder of the games here. But if you're South Carolina, you got the win against Pico Cone, which is huge, and a big indicator of how the series can go for you.
Yeah. So Mississippi State, tough day for the shortstop Cup. I mean, he had 2 errors. One of them was really, really costly. And then Mississippi State, they got a chance to respond. They load the bases and they don't score a run. They went 0 for 2 tonight as a team with the bases loaded. So, I mean, this was a big time series for both of these teams for different reasons. Like, you got South Carolina, brand new coaching staff. They're just trying to, build momentum any way they can. And then you got Mississippi State, just all kinds of noise and chatter. The fans are not remotely happy at all. And then, they lose a game like this where it was close. I mean, State scored 3 runs in the first inning. You're feeling good. You got your ace on the mound. And next thing you know, you look up and South Carolina is able to pull away late. I mean, this game was pretty close until South Carolina was able to pull away at the late stages there. Like, they scored 2 runs in the 9th inning. But, I mean, monster win for South Carolina to take game 1 of this series. And, I mean, I'm fascinated to see what happens tomorrow at the Dude.
That's a wrap on all the games, isn't it?
I think so.
Is, yeah.
All right, let's do medal stand individually for teams. And we do this for basketball. I don't know if we've done this in baseball. Give me your team's bronze, silver, gold of the night.
I'm going to go best to last here just because I think it's easier. Gold, Tennessee, second combined no-hitter of the year in a national title rematch. I know it's not the same A&M. Nonetheless, you dominate them flat out. And they continue to puff their chest as the number 1 team in the country. They get gold for me. Silver, I'm going to go Texas with the silver. I feel like, this was the highlight series, really, matchup-wise in college baseball, was them in Georgia. Something had to give, right, between these 2 teams. And this team looks pretty untouchable, I'd say, in Austin for the most part. In particular on these weekends, that no team is coming out of there unscathed whatsoever. And a win tonight really kickstarts that for you. So a win for Texas gives them the silver. And then my bronze is LSU. Cade Anderson, I don't want to say saved you. It was a historically, great performance from him. First no-hitter, by the way, since 2018. Or not no-hitter, complete game. First complete game for LSU shutout since 2018. Yeah.
Skeen's never had one.
How
about that?
it was AJ LaBesa? Is that right? Does that sound familiar?
Yeah. What was that kid's name? That's not it, but I know who you're talking about.
Right. Something like that. Again, LSU fan, fill me in the comments. I know what I'm talking about. I'm there. Nonetheless, historic night for Cade Anderson Thursday. Friday comes along and the offense just explodes and it really puffs its chest out as well. So Tennessee gold, Texas silver, bronze, LSU. Really, you could make the argument LSU silver, but I'm going to go Texas just because of the premier primetime matchup. And then LSU gets the bronze. But those are my 3.
My gold would be Texas just because it's a top 5 showdown and they 2 hit, the top offense in the country in Georgia. So Texas takes my gold. My silver, I'm going to go with the Auburn Tigers just because of what they did. They run rule top 10 team, or depending on what poll you look at, but not only any team, it's their arch rival, and they do it at home. So they run rule 10-0. They were in control. And again, Alabama only had 2 hits. So the pitching was outstanding tonight for Auburn. And then my silver, I'm going to go with LSU just because Oklahoma is the number 9 team in the country. They go to Norman, and they've already taken that series. So mission accomplished this weekend for LSU.
Yeah, I'm going. Good.
AJ LaBasse, by the way. That's who it was.
Yeah,
sorry.
I remember. That's been a minute. I feel like it's been longer than that since he played there.
Right.
I'm going gold Tennessee. Anytime you no hit and run rule an SEC team, that's going to get it 9 times out of 10. Silver, I'm going Texas just because Texas not only beat Georgia, which nobody's been doing for the most part, but to hold them to 1 run and no hitter into the 6th or whatever it was, that's incredible. And then Auburn, anytime you run rule your arch rival and a top, Alabama was top 10 in the country, I think, in D1 this week.
They are 8.
8, yeah. SEC's got 8 of the top 10 in D1 this week, if you didn't catch that.
That's pretty good.
Player of the night, got to go to Doyle, I think, for the no-hitter. Josh Pearson, 2 home runs, probably on the medal stand somewhere. Who am I forgetting?
Fisher, 2 home runs.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe give them and Sam Dutton would be in there too.
And Stanfield for LSU, 4 hits, 4 RBIs.
Yeah, and also the freshman catcher for Auburn, Chase Fralick, had 4 hits. So I think that I think I'd probably go. I tend to favor pitching over hitting. I'd probably go Doyle, Dutton, and then pick one of those hitters. And I feel like I'm leaving. Oh, good grief. I left Jared Spencer out. He's got to be in there.
11 Ks.
Yeah, against Georgia.
Right. It's all right. We'll do 7 medals for players just because the league's that good.
Everyone gets a trophy.
Well, Michael Phelps it. By the way,
Yeah.
Chris, what you just said about Fralick reminded me for Auburn. So he's been so good, like it kind of looks like he's settled in, like he's got the catcher spot now. And Irish is in right field. I don't know if that's because of his injury that he had earlier this season, but it looks like for the time being, Ike Irish in right field, and then Fralick is the catcher for Auburn.
Yeah, I mean, he fractured a shoulder. So you could get hit with the foul tip or something and aggravate that. I mean, that's probably what it is, because we talked to Butch Thompson before the season. He just raved about how much Ike Irish had improved behind the dish.
Yeah.
It's a kid in a draft year, not only a first rounder, maybe a top half of the first rounder if it goes well. So that's my guess too. I don't think you're gonna put a guy in that spot unless you're just awful behind the plate, because that hurts your recruiting and everything. So that's my guess too. A couple things on how's A&M this bad. They lost their coach to Texas, but still, come on. I mean, you lost 2 great hitters. The rest of the lineup hasn't been the same, and multiple Tennessee fans who were at the game tonight who came in said they look like they don't want to be there.
Yeah, and baseball's a long season, boys. When it's not going well, trust me, you feel it.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Any parting thoughts?
More fun games tomorrow. Maybe Georgia and Alabama's offenses wake up. That's what I'm looking for tomorrow.
Yeah.
I would say that's a safe bet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, won't be knocking on wood for that. I feel like that might happen.
Yeah, I say I'm watching not just the top of the standing, but teams that have got to get a game. Florida's got to get one against Vanderbilt tomorrow. A&M's got to get one against Tennessee, although I'm kind of writing that one off as hopeless. Mississippi State is in that boat. In rubber match between Ole Miss and Kentucky, that's a big one too. Ole Miss gets that one. It is firmly in the driver's seat for hosting. Kentucky needs that one to start making up ground, because I think they're 40s in the RPI, so they got a lot of work to do if they're going to get in the hosting.
By the way, what do we make of I know, it's the middle of the season. We need content. Let's make regionals. So D1 had that. What'd you guys make of that? Obviously, they do it by geography, because when you look at the Ole Miss one, it's like
it's brutal.
Yeah, it's like who are teams close to Ole Miss that Ole Miss has played a lot this season? Put them in.
It was Southern Miss and NC State. That's a gauntlet. That is rough.
Yeah,
Gentlemen, I have so many beefs with the way they do regionals and pairing that we'd do another hour.
I was like, holy smokes. And then Tennessee Tech is no slouch either. If we're really diving into it, Tennessee Tech is no slouch as that 4. That's the one that stood out to me.
I couldn't remember the 4. So, by the way, that would give a lot of Ole Miss fans PTSD with what happened in 2018 if Tennessee
Oh
Tech.
yeah.
But is that going to happen? I would doubt it. Also, Southern Miss is good. Like, they got a chance to host themselves. So, and if it comes down, hey, the last time Ole Miss and Southern Miss played in the postseason, Ole Miss won the whole thing. So,
yeah.
That's a brutal spot to go to for any big team would be Hattiesburg. That would be kind of a nightmare. You don't want to be the 2. I feel like that'd be an SEC 2 going to there.
Finally, yeah, Gavin, Tennessee did no-hit A&M, did it in 7 innings in case you missed it. So, yeah, we'll be back. I don't know if we'll do something maybe the next couple of nights or one of the next couple of nights. At a minimum, we'll be back with recaps on Monday. That's when we power rank the teams. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to the next 2 days of baseball. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you did, hit the subscribe button and hit the like button and enable notifications so you know when we go live. For Alfred Esmond, Graham Doty, I'm Chris Lee. God bless you. Have a great night. Thanks for watching our content here at Southeastern 16.